What's up, everybody? This is Evan for Grips.com, continuing with Project Get Me Stackin. Today I got a question coming all the way from Sweden. Hi, Evan. My name is Edvin, and I have been playing poker online since 2011. I am from Sweden, and I will turn 18 in April, so I'm still in school. So you've been playing since you were six. I guess that's not important. Let's work our way on to the question. I got into poker probably like everyone else, as I love to watch shows as Poker After Dark on TV. Man, I used to love watching Poker After Dark. And another great one that used to be on was the Professional Poker Tour. They actually showed a lot of hands on that stuff. It's too bad that that thing died, but because that's just the way it goes, TV poker. Anyway, I would like to say that my skill level is decent at the moment, and you could call me a reg as I mainly grind sit and goes and some MTTs. I would say that I am not far away from playing the S&Gs almost perfectly, in my opinion. Wow. Playing MTTs have worked out really well for me in 2013, and that's pretty common that if you're really good at sit and goes, you'll be able to do decently well at MTTs. So if your ultimate goal is to be a tournament player, you might want to start with some sit and goes. Just throwing it out there. I know all the basics in MTT and some more. I have watched your series. I still have much to learn though, probably. I am grinding MTTs anything up to $35, and in sit and goes I grind $20 to $35. I would say that I am very dedicated to this game, and I know that I will be playing a lot once in college and for years to come. That's awesome. He's already got his eyes on the prize, and he knows what he's got to do as soon as he's got that free time. Just don't forget about your education, because that's important too. So to my question. How do I move up the stakes the best and fastest way? So in a sense, I'm asking how to get from a reg to a pro. My ultimate goal would be to once have big enough bankroll to play in the World Series of Poker. Thank you very much for doing this, mate, and let's get stacking. Oh. I imagine this is a feeling shared by many of the viewers. You love the game. Maybe you watched some rounders. Maybe it was the World Series of Poker that got you into it. Or maybe you just played some home games with some friends or whoever and you realized, hey, I can actually make money doing this. I can actually win money consistently from playing this game. Maybe I should take it a little bit more seriously. You know. But you want to go about it the right way. And Edvin, much respect for wanting to take a serious approach to playing poker, because there are a lot of pitfalls that can keep you from being successful. And starting out by wanting to take it serious and wanting to do all the right things is the best way to avoid those pitfalls down the road. So let me give my best shot at advising you on how to move up stakes the best and the fastest way. And best way is very key. The fact that he said the best way is very key, because fastest is dangerous. Growing your bankroll isn't a race, and if you are to treat it like a 100-meter dash or a 200-meter dash, you're going to find yourself with the donuts in the account balance more often than not. So if you do really want to think of it as a race, think of it as a marathon and not a sprint. And now I will get into some more specifics. The first key to building your bankroll is to find what format of poker you enjoy most. Having fun is key to being able to play a lot, and playing a lot is key to being able to make a lot of money. So you want to avoid games that make you feel uncomfortable at first. So here are the obvious options. And for Edvin, I think you've already kind of decided what you're going to play, so you're one step ahead of the game. Now in my video entitled What's Your Game? I went into more detail about how to choose between these options and which personality types are suited to which games. So If you guys really want to get more detail about that, rather than just figuring out by personal experience, head on over to the channel and find that video. But the key is knowing what you should pick, is knowing that you should pick one at first and stick with it for a while. You don't want to be a jack of all trades and master of none, so start out by specializing. Once you get really good at one format, you can always branch out into another. It's not like you're stuck with one format for life. If you try to learn all 3 games at once, you'll be learning a lot of concepts that are inconsistent among the various disciplines. The right thing to do in a sit and go can be different from the right thing to do in a tournament, can be different from the right thing to do in a cash game. They are very unique in their own ways. So you'll probably find yourself getting confused a lot and applying concepts at the wrong times. So sticking with one gives your brain the best chance at really perfecting what it needs to, and then you can build on that later and grow on that later. Bankroll management is absolutely key. Once you've decided to take things seriously and try to build up your bankroll and try to make profit from the game and be like a quote-unquote pro, you don't want to have to redeposit because that defeats the purpose. The idea about treating poker like a job is that you're finding a way to take money out rather than having to put money in from other sources, and that way you might not need a job. Also, since your goal, Edvin, is to get a bankroll for the World Series of Poker, and you're currently playing $20 and $30 sit and goes in tournaments, you do have a reasonably long grind ahead. That's just how it is when you're starting out, and it's a reality, but it's something that can definitely be overcome. And the best way to overcome that is to give yourself mini milestones to celebrate along the way. Aiming to play in the World Series of Poker is a fantastic goal. I remember it was one of my goals when I started as well. But if it's your only goal, since it's such a big one and it's a little bit in the distance, you'll probably feel like you're always coming up short and that you'll never get there. You may end up making some irresponsible decisions like playing a satellite that's really outside your bankroll because, hey, if you win it, you'll have a seat in the World Series, even though it's not the right time to be playing that. By setting goals for how many buy-ins you want to win, how many hands you want to play each week, how many tournaments you want to play, different types of tournaments that you want to try out, little small things that are easy to measure. You give yourself the feeling of accomplishment when you get those things done, which will lead to positive feelings and momentum that will help you reach your ultimate goal, rather than feeling like it's an impossible task that you can never accomplish because it's so far away. And don't forget to reward yourself as well. This is a very key part of having these big, large-scale goals. You have to have some fun along the way and remind yourself what you're playing for. Otherwise, you might find yourself getting consumed by the game and unhappy in other aspects of your life, which is one of the pitfalls that you want to try to avoid. You have to be better than your opponents to win in the long run, and opponents are better at higher levels. So to be able to compete in the higher levels, you have to be better as well. So it means, you got to spend time improving your ability. You can't just spend time playing. You have to have a balance between the two. And there's no one best way to study. Everyone's different. Well, I'll talk about the options first of the different ways you can study. There are books you can read, ebooks or real books, whatever. Videos you can watch, forums you can go through, you can talk with friends, you can go through your database if you have Hold a Manager or Poker Tracker, which for anyone who really is trying to build their bankroll, invest in that program is probably the first thing you want to do. And the last option is just thinking about the game in general. You'll be amazed with what comes to your mind if you really just think about it. But everyone's different with how they study and what works best for them. So, like with game selection, I would say find your sweet spot and sweet spot for studying and put 80 to 90% of your efforts towards that type of study, and then still put the other 10-20% of the time to trying other methods, because you never know what else might supplement your main method really well, or when you might want to transition to a new type of studying. We change all the time, and what used to work 6 months ago may not work today, so it's important to be flexible and willing to try these other things. Finally, you want to build that bankroll, you want to know the best way to do it well. It's pretty simple when it all comes down to it, and that is get to work and put in that effort. You're not going to magically become a high stakes superstar overnight or a consistent winner at any limit if you don't put in the effort and all you do is think about it happening and wishing it to happen. You need to play hands. You need to play lots and lots of hands, and they have to be quality hands. Just mass multi-tabling doesn't necessarily count as grinding hard. You got to be grinding good too. Now, I put all these together because this is just kind of what it takes. You grind hard at your limits in your comfort zone, but you also have to be willing to take shots. You can't be afraid to go for it, whether that means taking a higher variance line or playing in a limit that's bigger than you're used to, because maybe there's a big whale in the game. Maybe there's a dude at the next limit up who's playing every single hand. It's probably a good spot. And when a good spot presents itself, just take it. If you never take a shot, you'll never move up. I know from a lot of the home games I play on, people would say no gamble, no future, no gamble, no glory. Like, you got to be willing to take chances if you want to make it anywhere. So don't be too strict on your bankroll restrictions, but be responsible and be patient. When the spot comes, take it, but don't try to make a good spot to take a shot out of nothing just because you feel like gambling or just because you had a bad day and you want to chase your money back. You have to be willing to take losses and have downs on your graph as well as ups. It's not about just a steady cruise to the top. It's about knowing how to handle adversity and how to get through it. So when it's the right spot, you'll know. Finally, be prepared and make sure your confidence is high when you play out of your comfort zone for the first time. It doesn't guarantee a successful shot, but it maximizes your chances. And if you try to play bigger when you're just feeling crappy, it's a recipe for disaster. And yeah, accept your results when first trying to move up, and understand that a lot of taking shots comes down to luck. You're dealing with a very small sample when you try to move up for the first time, and it's going to be very luck dependent on whether you win and feel like you can compete at the new limit or lose. So if you run bad, you've got to go rebuild where you know you can, and that's where um, having grinded hard at the lower limit and being confident in your game is very, very essential. You have to know that you can rebuild if things go bad at the higher limit, and you got to make sure you don't lose too much at the bigger limit, which would make it impossible to rebuild. So that's where being responsible and being prepared comes in. If, on the other hand, you run good when you take your shot, you may be able to establish yourself at the next limit because you already have the skills to compete at that limit. You've improved your ability to the point where you can compete with the guys at the higher limit. You just didn't have the bankroll, but now that your shot taking went well, you do have the bankroll. Usually when moving up limits, the players aren't out of this world or like extremely better at the next level. They're slightly better. They know a couple things that the people at the lower limit didn't know. So, if you're running well, and you know what you're doing and you're learning all the things you need to do, that's the best way to just jump and move it straight to the top as quickly as possible. So if you don't try to rush things and play within a safe zone so that you will never bust your roll, because that's a really key part about being a professional, and constantly get better, you will find yourself moving up the ranks. I mean, I think it's the quickest. Maybe not the quickest, but you'll be doing it in a sustainable fashion. And it's very important to be sustainable in poker. If you're treating it seriously and you want to build your role, you can't be being irresponsible, playing outside your limit, shooting off your money, tilting, giving away money you worked really hard to get. Because it's about slow building. It's going to go like this and this and this and this. And we all just want it to go like this, but it doesn't work like that. And you got to think big picture. Day to day, hand to hand, you're going to experience a lot of variance. And you can't control, when you get kings and someone else get aces. That's just a beat that you have to take, and you're probably going to lose a full stack. When you get in tens versus ace king suited, or queens versus ace king suited, whatever, and it's a flip, half the time you're going to win, you're going to boom up on the graph, and half the time you're going to lose and you're going to go down. And you just have to be ready for those and not let them affect you. And as long as you're playing adequately rolled and you're getting it in with the best of it most of the time over, 10,000 hands or 50,000 hands or 100,000 hands or a month, 2 months, a year, whatever way you want to look at it, the overall trend is going to be up and positive, and that's what you're going to be looking for. So, just if you can, just kind of like zoom out. Don't look at your graph every time you play. Don't look between every hand. Look at it once a week, once a month. What's the general trend? Is the general trend going the way you want it to be going? Keep doing what you're doing. If it's not, step back and ask yourself why. And you can try to figure it out, change those things, and get it going the way you want it to be going. One thing I didn't mention in the presentation that will really help you with building your bankroll: keep track of what you're doing so that you can look at your results and be responsible for them and be accountable to yourself. Because if you aren't keeping track, it's easy to kind of like push something under the rug and pretend it didn't happen when you made a mistake. Yeah, that's really key. So that's what I think the best thing you guys out there who want to build your bankroll up from scratch can do. And of course, if you're playing really small, hit those free rolls. Take advantage of those promotions. There's a lot of free money being given away that can really jumpstart your progress, make it happen a lot faster. Okay, so if you have any questions, you'd like to take part in the Get Me Stackin series, please email them to evan@grips.com so I can try to answer them for you. Please leave me your comments and feedback on the video. I want to know what you guys thought of it, whether you like the presentation, and I also want you guys to share your thoughts with each other so that you can help each other improve and grind your bankrolls up as quickly as possible. That's what we all want to do with this Get Stackin project, right? We're trying to get stacking. And if you're enjoying these videos, you find they help your game, please support me and subscribe to my channel. I'm coming out with these videos as often as I possibly can, so the more questions I get, the better. And the more subscribers I get, the more motivated I'm going to be to do it. So show your support. Let me know that you care and enjoy what I'm doing. That about wraps it up. I hope you found the presentation insightful and informative. This has been Evan for Grips.com. Peace.